This episode of Falmouth in Focus is brought to you by the following corporate underwriter.
John's Liquors, 729 Main Street, Falmouth, 508-548-2287.
This week, we sit down with Falmouth Public Library's new director, Brian Stokes, to hear about his vision for the library's future, take you on a local farm tour with the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension, share an important discussion on housing with the Jewel Cobb Action Coalition, and much more on this episode of Falmouth in Focus. Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, our bi-monthly roundup of local events and FCTV member engagement with the community. I'm Michael Kasparian.
And I'm Eileen Preston. The Falmouth Public Library recently welcomed a new library director, Brian Stokes. We had the chance to sit down with him to discuss his vision for the library and what he hopes to bring to our community.
Hi, I'm Brian Stokes. I am the library director of the Falmouth Public Library. And I've been working here at the Falmouth Public Library since September 2022 when I became the assistant library director. At the time, Linda Collins was the library director. I moved here from New York City where I worked at the New York Public Library for a little over a decade as a library manager of a few branches in Lower Manhattan. Before that, a young adult librarian, and before that, a correctional services outreach coordinator. I get to do a lot of really interesting things as the library director here. I act as sort of the liaison for the library administration with the Board of Library Trustees, the Friends of the Falmouth Public Library, the Falmouth Public Library Support Fund, which are all organizations that support the mission of the public library. I also work with town administration because the library is, of course, a municipal entity as well. We manage an operating budget of over $2 million. A significant chunk of that, about 13% of it, has to be spent every year on materials for the library. So that ranges from everything from the books that you see behind me to Chromebooks that we loan out to the public, and everything in between. That's required by the state of Massachusetts for us to get state aid. And so that's a really fun part of the job because we get to sort of think about what it is that the library should have, that the town of Falmouth and the residents of Falmouth want from their library. And so those are some things that, have changed over the years, I think. It's one of the most interesting parts of the job is seeing how library usage changes. The other thing that I think we're really focused on right now is making sure that everyone feels welcome at the library, that the library has something for everyone. We're always interested in providing great service and resources to the folks who already love the library and use it. But I think we're really thinking about who isn't using the library, why aren't they using the library, and how can we make the library more useful to them so maybe that they become library users as well. Falmouth is amazing in its support of the library. Looking at the numbers, we have about 15,000 registered borrowers here at the library, which is about half the population, which in 2024 is a really great number, but we don't want to be content with that. We're always looking to get more people signed up for a library card and getting them access to the collections that we have here and the programs and everything else that we do. So I'm just thrilled at the opportunity to further the mission of the library and work with all of the great people here in Falmouth who support this wonderful institution that's been going strong for over 100 years and help support it and set it up for another 100 years of success.
We're excited to see how Brian Stokes plans to continue the library's legacy, which is also bringing fresh ideas to Falmouth. The library is such a vital part of our community, and we look forward to seeing it continue to thrive under his leadership.
Wonderful. We recently joined a local farm tour with the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension program. This event highlighted the vital connection between Cape Cod's community and sustainable agriculture. During the tour, we stopped at Tony Andrews Farm and Peterson Shepherd Farm. where local farmers are leading the way in advancing and promoting our agricultural heritage.
Welcome to our special coverage of the Upper Cape School Garden Ribbon Cutting and Farm Tour, an event that highlights the vital connection between Cape Cod's community and sustainable agriculture. Our journey began at Tony Andrews' farm in East Falmouth, a cornerstone of the local farming community. Here, attendees were welcomed by farmer Jeff Andrews, who shared the farm's long history and its ongoing commitment to sustainable practices.
The service center now takes all this produce that we grow, and we dropped probably, Brian will verify this, probably almost 3 tons of produce, which is a lot of produce to give away. But since we got the grant, we grew more stuff to give away. We give gourmet eggplant, radishes, beets, sweet corn, the whole 9 yards. All the good stuff. Everybody should be on the same page. I don't care how much money you make or whatever, it's the best feeling in the world when everybody gets to have something.
The farm, known for its fresh produce and community involvement, has become a model for local agriculture.
Hi, my name's Dick Pooley, and we're at the Marina F. Andrews Community Garden in East Falmouth. So I got involved in 2019, and that first year, 2019, we only had about 50-60% of the plots filled. When we landed over here, that first year we weren't filled. The second year we had a waiting list. I think it's very important for fresh produce, that people can grow what they want to grow over here. And it's very important for, I think, the lower income people who can come in here and don't have area where they live. They may be in an apartment and don't have a place to grow at home. And that's what this provides for them.
Next, we traveled to Peterson Shepherd Farm in Falmouth. This farm, run in part by shepherd Diana Wickman, is dedicated to environmental sustainability through rotational grazing, which enhances pasture quality and carbon sequestration.
My name is Diana Wickman, and we are at Peterson Farm in Falmouth. Today we had a bunch of folks here from the Massachusetts Department of Agriculture, organized by the local Buy Fresh, Buy Local program. And they came to tour farms in Barnstable County and quite a few in Falmouth, and we were one of the farms on that tour. We have a pretty big environmental mission here at the farm. It's really why the sheep are here. Me and my farm partner Simon were grazing tenants at the farm, so the land is town land and the sheep are ours. And basically we have a lease with the town to maintain what you see as pastures when you come visit here, 15 acres of pasture as pasture. And we use our sheep as lawnmowers. And so by doing that, we're not running diesel-powered equipment, gas-powered equipment to keep the fields cut short. We are adding biomass to the soil. The sheep are producing manure. We are increasing the root growth of the grass by grazing it in an eco-friendly way. When we sell our products coming off the farm, which we do to basically sustain the operational costs of the farm, we also believe in keeping that mission local and as environmentally friendly as possible.
The tour helped to highlight the critical importance of supporting local agriculture, focusing on both the current advancements and future potential of our food systems and environmental sustainability. You can catch more of the tour on our FCTV public channel or our website at fctv.org.
And we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll take a look at a recent open house here in town. Stay with us.
Belonging to Each Other is an organization that guides our Falmouth neighbors experiencing homelessness on their path to stability by providing temporary cold weather housing and year-round loving supportive services. I am Christina Williams, pastor of North Falmouth Congregational Church and vice chair of Belonging to Each Other. Rabbi Joaquin Prince once wrote, "Neighbor is not a geographic term, it is a moral concept." By this definition, we have many good neighbors in Falmouth, and some of them helped make belonging to each other's mission possible this past winter season. 15 meal team volunteers made and delivered 326 meals to 45 people who were sheltered in local motels during dangerous weather. The Falmouth Service Center helped feed 22 of our neighbors experiencing homelessness who lived in 2 of our homes. 30 volunteer drivers took their neighbors to their jobs, medical appointments, and even helped them move into their new homes. 120 businesses, healthcare, and community organizations donated money and items to their neighbors so that they could rebuild their lives, like used furniture and housewares, toiletries and cleaning supplies, even walkers and hearing aids were donated for seniors experiencing homelessness. 12 local congregations stocked our houses and provided needed funds and holiday meals. Many more volunteers transformed the 2 houses belonging to each other rents into temporary homes for our neighbors transitioning to stability. Even school children got involved by making valentines for our neighbors experiencing homelessness. The list goes on and on. Thank you, Falmouth, for being a place filled with good neighbors.
Welcome back.
The Falmouth Police Department recently held an open house, giving residents a chance to meet the officers, explore the station, and learn more about the important work they do to keep our town safe. It was a day full of activities, demonstrations, and plenty of smiles. Let's take a look.
Hey, my name is Patrick Matthews. I work for Donna Buckley and the Barnstable County Sheriff's Office. We're here today to support the Chief and the Office of the Falmouth Police. It's a great day out here, a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of informative stuff for families and kids going back to school. Got plenty of food here. It's just a great time. I'm happy to support the Chief as his officers are. As you can see, if you look around, there's a lot of officers here. I don't think that's been there in the past, but it's great to have it now, and good luck to the new Chief.
It's always great to see the strong connection between our local police force and the community they serve. A big thank you to the Falmouth Police Department for hosting such an engaging and informative event.
It's always fun every year. The Jewel Cobb Action Coalition and Cape Cod Housing Assistance held an important public conversation recently in the Clapp Auditorium, the use of which was donated by the Marine Biological Laboratory. It was called Housing Our Community, and it paired a book talk by a leading housing expert with a panel of well-known locals speaking for the science, farming, and workforce communities. Here's a short excerpt of the things that were said.
When we began studying housing needs, the first thing we learned was it's complicated is not an answer for anything. Probing more deeply, we learned that the housing crisis is really crises, a crisis of policy, a crisis of money, a crisis of design, and a crisis of ethics.
Every time affordable housing has an address, all of a sudden people don't want it. People are for affordable housing, right, until it has an address. It takes a lot of courage for these people who sit on planning boards, sit on select boards, sit on their affordable housing trusts to stand up to their friends and neighbors for doing the right thing for the rest of us.
This question of zoning is in many ways a question of ethics. A couple of years ago, I testified before Congress, and Emanuel Cleaver, who's a Democratic congressman from Missouri, said that when he used to sit on the zoning board in Kansas City, he said there was no venue in which you learn more about human nature. You see the best and the worst in people when these zoning decisions are made.
I moved here about 2 years ago, and mostly for the science, but I've been really welcomed by this wonderful community in Falmouth, and alongside that, realized how much of a barrier housing was to folks like me who were moving to this area.
So Farming Falmouth is a nonprofit on a mission to build a stronger food system for us here on the Cape, and specifically now we're working very locally, a stronger food system for us here in Falmouth. And we see that we're up against housing, because if you don't have houses for the farmers, you don't have food, right? So food and housing it's a basic intersection of needs.
We now have 9 single moms who live in Megantic Crossing with 22 kids. And thank you. But, I just wish that people who make these decisions, who sit on the boards, would actually come out when we have our opening house and we invite all the people and meet the people. You couldn't have found a better group of people who are so excited to move into, it's emotional, it really is, to move in and have something they can call home. We haven't had any people move out. They all pay their rent on time. They're great people. Ellie helped us build a garden out there for them. They've got 10 plots. They grow their own food. And recently, another developer from out of town asked me if he could use the plans that were used for Megantic Crossing, because he admired it so much to build another project in town. So that was, it was very successful. But the successful part is the human part of it.
Well, we spend a lot of time on housing at the Chamber, so it's good to see other groups out there talking about this and seeing the community so engaged. So,
I agree,
yeah, bravo. FCTV is proud to broadcast the Housing Our Community discussion in its entirety on its public channel. You can find airtimes and learn how to watch on your favorite streaming platforms at fctv.org/watch.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we stop by the Falmouth Public Schools for a look at the start of the school year.
The most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, stay with us.
For 40 years, the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center has been singularly dedicated to providing comprehensive, life-sustaining services for veterans and their families on Cape Cod and the islands.
The Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center has multiple touch points in the community. Our most successful and ever-growing program is transportation. Any veteran or family member simply needs to provide their DD-214 form, and we will schedule rides with any of our 4 transportation partners. This program has enabled veterans to appear for much-needed VA medical appointments or other essential personal appointments they have as well. Another popular program we have developed is the Veterans Rendezvous Cafe. This is a bi-monthly social gathering for veterans at the Yarmouth Senior Center. The Rendezvous Cafe is a place for learning, social time, and various enrichment activities for local veterans. Our very successful Stand Down for Veterans program is an annual resource fair for veterans where there is a clothing and supply depot, a chance to meet with VA benefit staff one-on-one, and access to many community partners who serve veterans. We hosted a stand down this past October, which was very successful, and one of the most popular services was the free haircuts provided by Supercuts. Our outreach department works tirelessly to meet the needs of or direct veterans to the most relevant services that support our veterans in a practical way. The best part of what we do is that we provide all of these programs and services at zero cost to the veterans and their families.
Welcome back. As the new school year begins, Falmouth Public Schools held their annual convocation to inspire and energize the dedicated teachers who shape the future of our children.
Let's take a closer look at how the district is celebrating the deep traditions of the Falmouth Clipper experience and the invaluable relationships formed in the classroom. Remember sharpening those pencils, right? Yeah.
Teachers from Falmouth Public Schools gathered at Falmouth High School on Wednesday morning, August 28th, for the district's annual convocation to kick off the school year. This year's festivities had a distinctly school spirit focus, celebrating the deep and rich tradition of the Falmouth Clipper experience. Continuing to cheer the role that teachers play in children's development in the classroom, Assistant Superintendent Sonia Tellier and Falmouth Principal Dr. Alan Harris focused their messaging around school spirit and the teacher's investment in students' learning and the role of forming positive relationships between teachers and students in the classroom.
So now that you know what we look like, stop us at the Bananas and Stop and Shop, send us an email, say hello, share all your awesome things that you're doing. If you've got a project you're super proud of, let us know about it, because we really need to balance out the 500-point strategic plan and the dry and boring things that we get to do at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night. So have a fabulous year. Thanks for all that you do for our kids every single day.
In the weeks to come, I'll share some goals and some strategies for the year. But right now it is all about the spirit, and the spirit starts with you. I am so proud of working in this district because of you. You're amazing. Now let's turn to the person to your right and let's tell them you're amazing.
It's always inspiring to see the energy and dedication our teachers bring to the new school year. We wish all the students and staff a successful and enriching year ahead.
Our next segment comes from one of our valued community partners, the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. In this ongoing series, Saving Our Ponds, we've been learning about the various threats facing our local water bodies.
In Part 3, titled Protecting Your Pets, Dr. Catherine Young-Buck discusses the serious risks that cyanobacteria blooms pose to our pets and other domesticated animals.
It's really important that pet owners are aware of the cyano blooms and livestock owners, and that they know what to look for, not just in terms of, there'll be signs posted, hopefully saying what the status is of a particular waterway with respect to harmful algal blooms, but also if they see something in the water that looks suspicious, that looks like somebody has spilled bright green paint in the water, or it looks like pea soup, that they should keep their pet out of there, and they should consider contacting their local public health department to let them know, especially if they don't see signs.
If someone's out on their walk with their dog and they see what they think is a scum, they can take a picture and email it to us. And I've noticed the number of people that are knowing to do that or knowing to call us on the phone has really grown a lot since I first started.
Your dog can get in there, or a cow can get in there and take a few slurps of that water and die within an hour or two from it.
The dogs will go swimming in the pond and they will get cyanobacteria on their fur or whatever, and you might not see it, and the dog cleans themselves and they're ingesting the toxins.
Yeah, some of the warning signs of cyanobacteria exposure for a dog would be vomiting and diarrhea, weakness, lethargy, tremors. They may collapse. They could have seizures. Their gums could be pale or yellow or blue. They can develop respiratory distress, blood in their stool. There can be a lot of different presentations. Unfortunately, once they start to show signs, they're in trouble, and it's best to treat them before they show signs. If you suspect that your animal has been in contact with a harmful algal bloom, you need to rinse them off as much as possible, wearing some sort of protective clothing because you don't want to get it on you, and call a veterinarian immediately. because you want to get them in there before they start to show signs. Prevention of exposure is the key to keeping animals from getting sick and dying.
That was some incredibly important information from Dr. Buck. Cyanobacteria blooms can be a hidden danger in our ponds, and it's crucial to stay informed to keep both our pets and ourselves safe.
Yeah. Thank you to the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution for producing and sharing this informative piece.
That's going to wrap up our show for the moment. I'm Michael Kasparian.
And I'm Eileen Preston. We leave you now with sights and sounds from around Wing Pond. Until next time,
see you around town.